Well, we're back at it again. Welcome in to the Build Show, Venomous Toad. You are the first. I think you got first place this time. Although I didn't know it was a competition. We've got quite a cool build to do tonight. This is a build for Emily. She was reaching out to us to do a build. She actually reached out to us back in December to do a build. Unfortunately, the prices on stuff kind of changed since December because I gave her a quote back in December, and then she came back and was like, okay, let's do the build now. So I'm assuming she was just saving up some money for doing the build, but unfortunately the prices of stuff went up. So it was like $100 and something more than the original build. So I hate it when shit like that happens, because it's like, man, we could have done this build a little bit cheaper. But it is that time of the year where shit's just, excuse my language, stuff is just not priced right. So welcome to the Build Show, some giant idiot over on the Twitch. Woo! It's always a competition, even if others don't know it. I didn't know that. So I'm the others that don't know. But, so tonight we're going to be building a Ryzen 7 5700X 3D build with the 3D V-Cache AM4 build. We have a MSI B550 Pro VDH Wi-Fi motherboard to build with, along with 32 gigabytes of DDR4 3200 RAM, and a 2 terabyte M.2 NVMe Gen 4 SSD by Silicon Power. The RAM is T-Force Vulcan Z by Team Group, and we've also got an RTX 4060 Ti 8 gig version. Oh, thanks for the follow over there on Twitch, Venomous Toad. Welcome to the Twitch side. I also realized, actually, let's finish this. We're going to be using the 360mm AIO by Thermalright, which is their Frozen Note. That's got the 360mm radiator, the inline pump, and the three 120mm adjustable RGB fans, and the signature Infinity RGB stuff going on the block. And then we have a 750 watt 80 plus gold power supply, giving them a little bit of wiggle room for future upgrades, because this is definitely overkill for the 4060 Ti, but I try to do that where I can on most systems when I can. This also has the PCIe Gen 5 12 volt high power connection as well. So hey, good morning, some giant idiot over there. Oh, thanks for the sub over there, Venomous Toe. That was, you didn't have to do that, but I appreciate it. Appreciate you, sir. The sub over on the Twitch side. There you go. I wanted to give you my Amazon thing. I never use it. Nice. Well, I appreciate that. It does help the channel, and it also goes towards the $1 PC build. So all the subs and all that jazz goes towards the $1 PC build. I know the bar hasn't moved very much, but that's because we haven't gotten paid out on Twitch or YouTube in a little bit here. So once that payout happens, I'll set that money aside and put it towards the actual $1 build giveaway. Yeah, it's where we build a PC and sell it for $1 to all of our subscribers and supporters. All right, so that being said, we're also going to be building in a 7 Hero case. It's the Panoramic H602 by 7 Hero. We have built in their cases before in the past. This is actually going to be the first time I built in their dual chamber case, so it'll be quite interesting to see how it goes. But a very good priced dual chamber case that offers some pretty cool aesthetics in the build, as well as, you know, some larger components, and also offers a nice look. And it includes some of the fans, so kind of save some cost there with that being included with the case, which is cool. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope Emily did get the email, because I did let her know that we were starting. So let's go ahead and start with the build, and we were also, oh yeah, before we start, this GPU was delayed like 8 times this week, so we were waiting on this guy, and it actually showed up today, because this is the build I wanted to do today. So I'm so glad that it showed up, so that we could do the build. I do have a 4060 over there in the inventory pile, but we could have done the build and then swapped it out when it showed up, but didn't really want to have to do that. Oh, and then the other thing is I am over on Kick, and I didn't realize that we were actually not even streaming to Kick for probably the last, like, 2 or 3 months. So when I fire up the stream, the multi-stream usually kicks in there, and I think while I was troubleshooting once, I was having some issues with YouTube, and I shut it off, stream to Kick, and that solved problems. But then Streamlabs came back with an update and got it so that you can do the API connection to, I think it's called an API connection to Kick. So now I got that fixed, and now I'm streaming back to Kick now as well. So I stream to YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Facebook, and Twitter, X. So all over the place. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and start the build. We'll get this started. Pretty sure we don't need any brackets out of here because it's going to use the AMD stock brackets that come with the motherboard. And it has the Lian Li, I call it the Lian Li designed connection, where it just clamps right onto the brackets here. So don't need anything special out of the cooler until we get to the installation of the cooler. Very basic motherboard. I say basic, I mean, has all the needs for the PC, but it's stuff that comes with the board. It's all basic. Nice spread you got there. Spread. Oh yeah, I'm spread all over the place. Hey, what's up, Tat Tutuna? Welcome to the build show. Come on in. What's good, Ben? Some Johnny Idiot. What's good? What's good? What's good? What's up, man? How's everybody's Friday? I hope everybody's doing something fun. More fun than, you know, me building PCs, of course. There we go. Just wanted to center it up and get a nice zoom on the CPU installation here. We've got our AMD Ryzen 7 5700X 3D going on the B550M Pro VDH. And again, 32 gigs of DDR4 3200 CL16 by Team Group T-Force Falcon Z with a 2TB M.2 NVMe SSD. And we have a 360mm AIO by Thermalright, which is the Frozen Note 360, 4060 Ti, and with the 8 gig version and a 750 watt 80 plus gold, power supply, along with a 7 Hero dual chamber case. So kind of like the Lian Li knockoff by 7 Hero. The Lian Li O11 Dynamic knockoff, that is. So that's what we're building with today, Tat. I had a feeling you were going to be asking here shortly. We got our 5700X 3D installed. Next, we're going to install our 32 gigs of DDR4 3200 CL16 RAM by Team Group, which is the T-Force Vulcan Z. I don't know how many times I have to say that, and I also don't know why it has to be so insanely long for the name, but that's Team Group's way. That is the way. This is the way by Team Group. But it makes sense. So when you're shopping around different types of RAM from Team Group, all of it makes sense. Kind of like G-Skill. Makes sense. There we go. We installed 16 gigs each into A2, B2 slots. Next up is our 2TB M.2 NVMe SSD by Silicon Power. This is the UD90. We've got about a 5,000 megabits read and write speed to it. Also gonna peel this thing off. When you come across a situation like that where the stud is not matching the size, always make sure you remove that. Don't let that be touching the back of the SSD. It's very bad for it. The only place you want the stud touching the back of the SSD is where it mounts via the screw. This is such a nice little motherboard for the B550 series. Although the accessories are basic, the board itself is super simple and nice. Has all the features that you need: USB-C, USB 3.0, obviously, 4 slots, the 2 M.2 slots, and the PCIe 16 slot, and the VRMs are actually not bad on it. Good enough for what we're building and working with here. Hey, Coral Reef. Hey, thanks for the help today when we picked up my new PC. I'm still getting my setup back together, but I'm loving it already. Awesome. Coral Reef was here earlier today picking up her build. That was the one that was build number 10. That was the PC with the RGB issues when we first fired it up. I did end up having to swap out the motherboard for that one. I think that was Saturday last week. Welcome to the build show, though. Coral Reef, welcome back. And Bazooka Bulldozers, welcome back to the build show. The specs for this one, I know I don't have them up on the screen. I apologize. But this is a Ryzen 7 5700X 3D. So it's a AM4 processor on a B550 M Pro VDH Wi-Fi motherboard by MSI. 32 gigs of DDR4, 3200 CL16, Team Group T-Force Vulcan Z, and then we also have a 2TB M.2 NVMe Gen 4. Hey, what's up, owner? Welcome back to the build show, sir. Come on in. Hey, Mike Thompson. Howdy, y'all. Welcome back to the build show as well. Welcome in. We were just covering the specs on the build. So we've already got the CPU, the RAM, the SSD installed, but I'll start from the top. 5700X 3D, 32 gigs of DDR4 3200, 2TB M.2 NVMe Gen 4 SSD by Silicon Power, and the MSI B550 Pro VDH. This is micro ATX motherboard. We have a RTX 4060 Ti 8 gig, 750 watt 80 plus gold power supply, and a 360 millimeter AIO by Thermalright, which is the Frozen Note. And then we're going to be building in the 7 Hero dual chamber case, which has a weird model number. The H602, if you want to look it up, by 7 Hero. That's the case that we're going to be building in. It's all black theme. And we're actually ready to get the case out already. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Get the case out. Looks like we do have to move some fans. The toolless entry here for the glass, which just lifts up and then lifts up again. So again, this is the 7 Hero H602. I believe it's the B for black and W for white, if you were ever interested in this case. Now, these 3 fans here at the top, because we're going to put the AIO at the top, we are going to have to move these. So we will reposition these 3 fans to the bottom. I don't know why they installed them on the top. Maybe they're expecting you to use a air cooler. We're also going to install an additional rear fan by Thermalright, which I do have. Will it fit at 140? It will. We'll be playing around with some fans here before we drop the motherboard in. But this is a 140 millimeter fan we'll put on the rear, and then these 3 will go on the bottom here. Unfortunately, they went out of the way and did give us reverse blades here on the side, and then these bottom ones are not going to be reversed on the bottom. I'm curious, why is the 2023 build count so much higher than the 2024? It was because of the, what's the best way to put it? The economy, honestly. And also, I put a lot of money into marketing in 2023, and I went full-time building in 2023, so I was all in trying to make the full-time gig work, and it was working. And then 2024 came around, and even with spending money on marketing, the builds just weren't there in the beginning of the year. So I had to start, looking around for a job, actually, and went back to work. So I'm no longer doing this full time, which is why I stream a lot during the evenings right now. And it's just, it's unfortunate. It's kind of it was a tough pill to swallow, because it was working pretty good in 2023, and we were getting lots of builds, and it was a lot of work, but it was working. And then 2024 came around, and just everything went downhill. Nomming on some old pizza. What you... Some giant idiot. How old is the pizza, some giant idiot? That's the real question. About to eat some baked chicken myself. Nice. I actually have some... what do you call it? Mozzarella, chicken mozzarella stuff for dinner. I haven't eaten yet, but I know as soon as I eat food, I'm gonna get like super tired today. Well, I hope we could build it back to where you were and could do this full time. That's what I'm hoping for, is to get back to full time. But I'm just not interested in investing. The amount of money I had to invest to make 2023 happen in marketing was absolutely insane. So the new business plan is, let's stop dumping money in stupid marketing and just build the name organically. So it's going to be a longer haul, and I am still putting some money into marketing to kind of push it a little bit, but nothing like I was doing in 2023. I mean, I spent thousands of my own dollars to advertise in Power Gaming Computers. Also, what's the PC you stream from? The PC I stream from is a PC that I built, obviously. And it is a Ryzen 7 5700X with a ASRock B550 Steel Legend motherboard, I think, and 30 or 64 gigs of DDR4 3200 CL16, and I believe that's Team Group T-Force Delta. as well as I think I've got 4 terabytes of M.2 NVMe SSDs, and with a combination of different drives. And then I have RTX 3070 Ti, which was the most expensive 3070 Ti you'll ever hear of. It was almost $2,000 to buy that card, because that was during the really bad time when mining was a thing still. And then I've got a Lian Li Landcool 205. Landcool 205 with a Vitro 240mm AIO and some Lian Li fans in there. So nothing super spectacular. It is also extremely dirty right now because I'm supposed to be making a how to clean your PC video, and I let my PC go really bad, so I can show you guys, hey, if your PC looks like this, maybe you should clean it, and then kind of do a video on how to clean it. That's the idea about it. Hey Blaze, what's up, man? Welcome to the Build Show. Lupin, I'm building a Ryzen 7. Welcome to the Build Show over there on Kick. Building a Ryzen 7 5600, 32 gigs of RAM, 3060 Ti, 12 gig. I think the 3060 Ti is actually only 8 gigs. So if it's the Ti, it's only 8 gig. B558 gig motherboard, gigabyte motherboard. Just waiting for the white case. Nice. Nice. That'll be cool. Mine needs a clean. Yeah. No, I was just going to do a tutorial on really, how to deep clean it. Because a lot of people use different things, and I was just going to share my method that seems to be working pretty well so far. 2,000 is a crazy number to move past that first. Yeah. 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 Is it better to have a separate computer you stream from if you're gaming? In today's hardware terms, Venomous Toad, no. It is more complicated, more expensive, obviously, to run 2 PCs for your stream. When today's hardware is so powerful, you could do it on just one PC. You don't necessarily need to. The only time I suggest somebody to even think about doing that is when that's literally your income, is your stream. So obviously you want the best possible stream you can provide for your viewers or your community. And having 2 PCs is not a bad thing because it's kind of redundancy. So even if you have it set up as one's a stream PC and one's a gaming PC, if one goes down, you have a second PC to work with, because that's how you make your money, is by streaming. You meant 12 gig 3060? Oh, no worries, man. Yeah, I was just curious about that. Was gonna go with the 1080 11 gig, but 1080 Ti, but said what the hell. Yeah, I think the 3060 will do you good. Was comparing prices for the 3060 versus 4060. Yeah, the 3060 you should be able to get around $220 right now. Should be able to find a 12 gig 3060 in that price range. If you shop around hard enough, you will find it in that price range, which is a really good deal for a 3060 12 gig card. Bazooka Bulldozers, Toad, unless you're gaming on a potato, you should have no problem streaming. Exactly. So that's what I usually advise people, is stick with one PC, especially with today's hardware. You could stream off of a single PC perfectly fine. And if it really is bothering you, if you really have a big enough impact on your FPS while you're streaming, that's when you start considering, well, maybe I do go for a second PC. And you obviously have to be making money on it. For me, even to suggest, putting more money into your tools, because these are tools for you to do your job, basically. Yes, actually, Blaze 1, I did. So if you want to go back to that video, you could definitely check out some of the benchmarks. I benchmarked it in the same video. So we did load up Windows, and we did benchmark it. A bunch of people in here wanted to see it benchmarked, so. Hey, Ant-Man, welcome to the Build Show. Blaze 1, welcome to the Build Show. Come on in. Hey, Don. I didn't know that was Don. Sorry. Welcome to the Build Show, Don. Robert Fixit, welcome back to the Build Show, sir. Can't hang out yet, but I wanted to say hi. No worries, man. No worries. I'll be going probably a little bit here. We'll probably be going to at least 11:30 at this point. What's the specs? Okay, I should definitely get this on this this up on the stream. But the specs is Ryzen 7 5700X 3D AIM-4 CPU on a B550M Micro ATX motherboard by MSI. It's the Pro VDH Wi-Fi. We got 32 gigs of DDR4 3200 CL16 RAM by Team Group. It's a T-Force Vulcan Z, and then a 2TB M.2 NVMe SSD with a Frozen Note 360mm AIO, 750 watt 80 plus gold power supply, and an RTX 4060 Ti 8 gig version, all going in this build. And this is a 7 Hero H602B, which is a this is the dual chamber version of their cases. My old PC had an AMD Bulldozer. I come from the Amiga Commander era. Oh yeah. That's an older Amiga Commander. Commodore. I always say it wrong. Era. That is a old processor, but it's okay. 2. Damn. Welcome to the build show. 2. Nice aim 4 for the win. Yes. Another aim 4 build for the win. All right, so what we do need to do here in the build is actually move these top fans to the bottom, and then we'll install a 140mm here on the rear, and then we'll get the motherboard installed and then the AIO. So that is where we are right now with the build. We've already got the CPU, the RAM, the SSD all installed onto the board. So I'm going to get this flipped around, get to the back so we can undo some of these cables for these top fans and get those plugged or removed from the top. Sure, we can synchronize this. Let's see why we couldn't. Oh yeah. A ball of wonderful joy called daisy chain fans. Okay, so we've got all of our fans from the top unplugged here. We could flip this back around and get those uninstalled here at the top and reinstalled at the bottom. Ow. We'll say the corner on this side of the case is a little sharp. Benefits of running 2 GPUs. There's really no benefit today running 2 GPUs unless you're doing some sort of rendering and you want to assign certain rendering features to 2 separate cards maybe. But other than that, for gaming, there's really no benefits anymore. They don't run in a pair like they used to in SLI, plus all the applications and software or games don't even support that feature anymore. So there's no benefit to running 2 GPUs unless you're doing AI or rendering or something like that. So that's really where you earn a benefit. Blaze 1, cool. I'll finish it out after this build then. Awesome. Been thinking about upgrading my son's 3050 to the Battle Mage. Wanted to see if out of the box and running. Well, that entire video will show you the build, the out of box driver installation experience, and some benchmarks. So it's the experience, the full experience from start to finish. And I'll be honest with you, it was a very positive experience. Very easy. It's actually right here behind me. Kind of bleeding into the video here a little bit, but so it was a very impressive, positive experience. Enough for me to say I would recommend the Intel Battlemage B580. Would like to do another video on that, kind of more, since we have some footage from the live to, you know, put together just a quick recap video, I guess you can call it. But when I get some time here, I'll do that. It's on the list of many different things I want to do, would like to do, need more time to do. All right, so now that we have our fans removed from the top, we're going to go ahead and put them down here at the bottom and then get them installed. We have some intake from the bottom. Fortunately, these are not reverse blades. Nice, that's exactly what I was hoping to see. Yeah, that's kind of what everybody was giving me feedback on was, you know, we wanted to see a live experience, you know, like start to finish. So that's what we did. Hey, Steven Cortez, what do you think the best AIO is right now? So for AMD, I think the best AIO, excuse me, the best AIO is going to be the the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3, because it does have the offset mounting, which centers up on the hotspot for AMD. The pump speed is great. The cooler, the radiator itself is thick. It's a little thicker than your traditional radiator from your traditional AIOs. So it's a thicker AIO, and the fans are actually really good quality. So, and the price for what you get for AMD performance, it's really good. So if you want a more budget-friendly AIO for AMD or Intel, the NVIDIA Frozen Note by Thermalright, the Thermalright Frozen Note 360, that's a great AIO. It's got an inline pump, so it makes it almost nearly impossible to get air trapped inside the pump itself, and it really doesn't matter what position you try to put the radiator slash block. It's really hard to trap air in there. So I'd say, you know, higher end, the Liquid Freezer 3 by Arctic is one of the best, and then the budget friendly is the Frozen Note 360 cooler by Thermalright. Those are my two recommendations. And then once you get into higher end stuff, I don't know. I guess the Asus Rogen, or whatever you call that cooler with the screen, has always been kind of on my higher end list that I use, as well as some of the Corsair coolers. They're pretty nice. NZXT is okay. The Kraken, I just don't use them a lot. I don't use a lot of NZXT. I just don't like mixing. The biggest thing I have when I do builds is I don't like having 18 different softwares. So usually I'll lean on like Lian Li. The Lian Li Hydro Shift is also a really good cooler, by the way. I'd probably put that on the top end. Super nice cooler. It's just limited how you can mount it because of where the tubes are and things, so just keep that in mind when you're using the Lian Li Hydro Shift. But it also has a built-in screen. But I like to use, you know, if I'm doing a Lian Li cooler, I'll try to use a Lian Li case, and I'll use Lian Li fans, and then it's all under the Lian Li L-Connect software, L-Connect 3. And it just makes it so much easier to manage the RGB and the connections and everything inside the PC. 800 subscribers today? I don't know. Are we going to get 800? if you are subscribing, I may not see it in the mini feed because for some reason in Streamlabs it doesn't always show YouTube's subscribers. I don't know why it doesn't do that. It's weird. So I apologize if I don't say thank you if you did subscribe over there on YouTube. I'm not being a dick. I just don't see the notification over here on my end. And I don't know why it doesn't show up here. It doesn't always show up. It's very spotty. Like, sometimes it shows up and sometimes it doesn't. So, thank you if you did subscribe. I don't know, maybe we will hit 800. It's been a long journey getting here. Just consistently continuing what I do best, which is build PCs and help people talk about tech. Get these bottom fans installed here. And then we can move on to some bigger, cooler things like putting a motherboard in and watching me frustratedly deal with the cables on the back of this thing. It's always a blast. You're at 800, you're trying to get there. Sorry, I was muted playing again. Oh, no worries, man. I didn't realize I was there. Huh. I must have started somewhere around it. I was not paying attention to my subs. But cool. Welcome to the 800 crew. Yeah, I'm not very good at that stuff. I'm better at talking about tech stuff. It'll only show people with public subscriptions enabled. Oh, that makes sense, Bazooka. I never really knew that. Didn't know that. You learn something literally every day. And today, I was years old when I learned that. Public subscriptions enabled will show up in your feed. Why am I so slow? Two guys in a garage. Two guys, one garage. I mean, why are you in a garage? That's the real question. And why is there two guys in one? I mean, I guess that's kind of cool. I would actually prefer the two guys, one garage. I assume there's like beer and things in the garage to hang out with. I'm so slow because I talk, okay? Yeah, I could speed build if you want me to build faster. I'll build faster. You just gotta say, hey Ben, build faster, would you? Shut up and build. Okay, so we've got our fans in the bottom installed as intake. So we're ready to drop our motherboard in there real quick. First, we need a backplate. Automotive shop. I just earned a sub. Well, welcome to the Empower family. If you're trying to learn how to build a PC, this is a great place to follow. Or if you're looking to get one built, I do that for people here too. Yeah, the automotive shop makes sense. Good to clear that up. I'm sure there was many questions. You guys, one garage. Kind of reminds me of that old saying with the girl in the cup thing. If anybody wanted to know my age, now you know. Holy crap, he's old. Yeah, Ben's pretty old. Shit. So I'm sure two guys, one garage, you have the same experience when you drop the bolt down into the engine bay or something, or even the tool that just occurred. But see how much easier it is to lift the case and go get it? I'm sure you're jealous of that. I just wanted to point that out, just to make sure you saw how easy it was to retrieve that. That wasn't chocolate they were eating? No, it wasn't. God, no. I don't ever want to... I should have never brought that up. That was such a bad idea. That was so stupid to bring that up. I'm 45. You're 45 over there on Kick? Nice. I'm mid-30s. We'll leave it at that. Mid-30s. I'm a 90s kid. Or technically I'm an 80s kid. But I don't know if you count 1989. Well, I guess I have to steal one of these. Here. Funny though, yeah. Okay, share the video now and you have us wondering, girls eating. No, I will not be responsible for that. Yes, I would love to quit cars and build PCs. I could do it all. But never can get the power supply wired up right. But haven't tried in years. Oh, the power supply is the easiest thing, man. You honestly can't even screw it up anymore. Well, you can if you do the EPS. I'll show you. It's easy. Very easy. You can't really screw it up anymore. But I used to do automotive stuff too. I was a mechanic. I did not like working on cars in the winter here in Michigan, so I said, screw that. We're gonna go find an indoor job. And that's where my IT career started. And then since then, you know, the whole PC building thing kind of just grew. Started on Craigslist, just building and fixing and flipping. Went from there to having a website to, hey, let's start doing stuff on YouTube. I think somebody mentioned that, you know, that I should be doing it on YouTube. It would be cool and people would enjoy watching. And I was like, really? People would enjoy watching me build? Maybe they meant, Ben, you talk too much. Smart man, you're in Michigan, yeah. Dirt roads here in Michigan and the snow makes it a terrible experience if you're a mechanic. So I feel bad for any mechanic. I don't even do the work on my own cars anymore. As sad as that sounds. I still could. I'm actually supposed to do an oil change on my camper, my RV. And I'm dreading the thought of getting under there and doing it. That'll happen in the summer. With my luck, there'll probably be a bee's nest under there or something. Yes, Mike, I'm in Michigan, yes. Hey Jesse, welcome to the Build Show, sir. I'm still not 100% on the Daisy Chain fans, especially when you need to add extra. Watch someone do a huge case with a lot of fans and it looked like a nest. Yeah, that's kind of what this is going to look like. I'll try my best to kind of, you know, clean it up a little bit, but I mean, there's not much you can really do about it. So every single fan in this build is going to be daisy chained. What's up, man? Oh yeah, Michigan fans, Michigan roads suck is an understatement. That is a understatement. I'm in Grand Rapids. Yeah, Grand Rapids I think is even worse than it is over here in Lake Orion. You know, this side of the state. Actually, you know what? No, I take that back. I'd say Grand Rapids roads are a little bit better you know, over towards that side of the state. It's a little bit better. I'd say the roads are a little better over there. This is what I got 2 months ago. Skytech King 95 gaming PC, so it's probably in the King 95 Pro. Ryzen 7 9800 X3D, 4.7 gigs, 5.2 turbo. Yeah. AMD RX 7900 XT, nice. 24 gig, 1 terabyte Gen 4. It's a little light on the storage, so I hope you'll probably end up needing storage if you do a lot of games. If you play a lot of games, you'll find yourself needing more storage very quickly there. 32 gigs of DDR4, 1000 watt gold ATX power supply. It's a good build. Skytech usually does a pretty good job. They do a pretty good job. Curious about the brand on the power supply, and I'm curious to see if you already have that 1 terabyte full. Is Flint still bad? Flint is still meh. MEH is how you define Flint, unfortunately. It's not like bad, it's just meh. You drive through it and you're like, I really don't want to stop here, and then you just keep driving. Over here we are stuck with the dirt roads that turn into 3 inches of ice every winter. Yeah, that's why you guys showed up in a Bronco, because you knew. I added an extra 2 terabyte drive. Nice. Yeah, I bet it probably filled up in like the first day. 1 terabyte's just not enough anymore, I feel like. With the game sizes, everything's just so big. Kind of like in Texas. Alright, so we've got the motherboard installed. Let's go ahead and throw a rear 140 millimeter fan in there, because I have a 140 here and it supports 140, so we may as well throw a 140 in there. You go big or you go home. Empower Gaming Computers does better builds than Skytech. I don't know if I could say that. I just do builds. I try not to say I'm better than so-and-so. I will say, however, in the state of Michigan, I'm one of the top builders here in the state. So, that I can honestly say. My competition is literally Best Buy and Micro Center. And then there's a couple other mom and pop shops, but they don't do it the way I do it. At the level I do it. And then I show it off by streaming it. Just kidding. And 2-year warranty. Oh yeah, I do have a 2-year warranty. I do offer a 2-year warranty. Most of the time we don't have to use the warranty, but you know, example, the one of the Titans that we had down in Texas, Titan is a build on our website. It's the massive beast. Just had some memory issues and we had to go send him some memory replacement, RAM replacements for the build, which sucked, but that kind of crap happens and you have to be prepared to fix the problems. He's being better. I'll stay for him. He's better. The others belong in the... Oh gosh. Don't say that. I try to be a good sport with everybody. There we go. We got our rear 140 millimeter fan installed now. Yeah. Now we just got to get our AIO installed, and I think we'll be golden. Don't want to bend any of those. Crap. Before I install the AIO, I do want to put our EPS cables in, which is the only cable you could probably mix up with an 8-pin PCIe as a CPU EPS. It's like the only cable you could maybe screw up on a power supply. So I'm going to get that cable out, because this is a modular power supply, and install that so that it's done and I don't have to try to squeeze my fingers underneath that. Mr. Beast didn't know he had a show. Ben builds good machines. Sometimes I build good machines. Depends on, you know, the time of the day. You're not saying, I'm saying it. Okay, well, thank you, owner. Take it one for the team. Wife wants to watch the new Mr. Beast game. Yeah. FML gonna miss the rest of the build. I'm trying to hold her off. No worries, man. You can always come back and watch it. The cool thing about YouTube is that you can always come back. And I'll be doing a build possibly tomorrow, depending on if the parts show up or not. We'll be doing a build tomorrow anyway, regardless if the parts show up or not. I have other builds I have to do. But the build I want to do, I'm waiting on parts. They're supposed to show up some point tomorrow, so it's probably going to be an evening stream. I mean, this stream's probably going to go until 11:30 Eastern time. I don't know what time zone everybody's in, but I'm Eastern time. Okay, now that we have our cables out and the power supply unpacked, we can get our EPS cable and plug it in. The one thing that we needed this entire build, this entire time. This guy. I need 5 million so I can order a ton of computers from that. That would be kind of weird just having one customer, not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm only doing builds for this guy. Yeah, I could use the money and then I could quit my day job and do this full time. Just hang out on stream all the time. 624 p.m. or 6:24 p.m. here in Alaska. Oh shit! You're out in Alaska. Wow. How cold is it out there right now? Sure, it's got to be cold. So an EPS cable is a 8-pin or 4+4 pin power supply cable that powers the CPU, and it gets plugged in up here at the top, usually the top left corner of the motherboard. Next is your 24-pin cable here, which is what you'll use to power the motherboard itself. And then the last cable, typically, you'll have in a PC today is your GPU power cable, which could be one of two cables, a 12-volt high power cable, which is PCI 5.0, or PCIe 8-pin plus or 6+2, which is your GPU power. Your build, two guys, one garage, is the 7900 XT-X. So it's probably got 3 PCIe 8-pin connections on the card, 3 cables to the card, or should have 3 separate cables to the card. It should not be using the pigtails. If they are using the pigtails, they did it wrong, and you could fix that. But that means it's not delivering the right amount of power to the card, because each cable's rated for a certain amount of power when the card is asking for 3 separate cables. And that's if your power supply even has it, because some of the 1000 watt, cheaper 1000 watt power supplies will only have 2. So just keep that in mind. Early pregnancy simulator, EPS. Oh, yeah, definitely not that. Definitely not that. Good. Good to know that they have 3 cables and they're not using the pigtail. Yeah, it's an Amazon show on Prime. Yeah, I did see it, and I think I watched the first 5 minutes of it and then promptly shut it off. I got bored of it. No snow on the ground, 40 degrees? What? In Alaska? In the winter? During this time of the year? Is it true, like, during the winter over in Alaska that you guys have just daytime all the time? In my mind, I'm thinking Alaska's colder this time of the year. I don't know why. I'm just curious. All right, let's get these front panel connectors in, which we have USB-C there, 3 there. Well, we got fans there and there. And then we have ARGB up there and down there. Okay. I know where everything goes. Kind of. So we get to deal with this monstrosity. Don't worry. It'll be easy, they said. Oh gosh. We just need to unplug everything. How did it get so tangled? Let's put the fans in. Okay, now that we've got everything untangled, we can send our cables where we want to put them. We got a USB 3.0 connection here. This guy is going to sneak in here. Got a USB-C. That's going to go here. Got a front panel connector for the power button, reset button, etc. I'm just trying to untangle them as I place them. I'm going to go here. Actually, I'm going to slide it in right here. And then a USB and HD audio. USB 2.0 HD audio. Next up is our bottom fans that we'll go ahead and get plugged in here real quick. And our side and rear. Alright, we got all our cables kind of pushed through, so we can flip it around and get everything plugged in here real quick. 68 hours daylight, 40 degrees to minus 40 below sometimes. This winter we've had barely any snowfall rain. Nice rainfall. That is super cool. For now. When do you think you'll be getting a cleaning tutorial? So I've been talking about it for the last couple of months, and I haven't got there yet, so don't hold your breath. Soon. It'll be very soon. I need to get more YouTube content out there like that. You know, like tutorial tech type videos that I want to do. So it will be soon. Onra, have you received a build request with the new B580 motherboards yet? No, I have not. Not as specific. Most people come to me and say, hey Ben, I want to do a build, you tell me what I should put in there, and then we kind of go from there. So it's usually based on my recommendations, and I don't like using brand new boards like that right off the rip. So it can be a little dicey. I usually wait for a couple of BIOS releases before I'm more comfortable with jumping in on a new board. Kind of the smart approach. Hey, what's up, Army Vet? Welcome back to the Build Show. 120 inches of snowfall this winter up here in the Great White North. He's talking about the Upper Peninsula of Michigan is where he's at. And there's always a crazy ton of snow up there, especially with the lake effects that we have. Because lakes, you know, some of it will freeze, but not all of it. It still picks up a lot of water with our lake effect here by the Great Lakes state. Tesla's making a PC? I don't know. I thought they were making a robot last I heard. Are you an Intel or an NVIDIA guy or AMD guy? Two guys, one garage? I think, so I've dominantly built AMD systems, not because I wanted to. I mean, today I'm probably leaning more towards an AMD guy just because of the performance issues Intel's provided over the last three releases that they've had, the 13th, 14th, and the Core Ultra, the Ultra Core, Ultra Core series. So I've not been a big fan of Intel lately, and it's not because I'm a AMD fanboy or an Intel fanboy. It's just because what is better during the time, AMD currently is the better. So that's why I'm more of an AMD guy. Graphics cards, it's all a use-based scenario. I like all three of them. I like AMD, I like NVIDIA, and I like Intel. So I'm not you know, biased against one or the other. It's gonna come down to, you know, what fits your budget the best and what is gonna fit your use case scenario. So if you're streaming, I'm gonna tell you to go NVIDIA, because NVIDIA cards have always been more dominant with the streaming rigs. If you're just straight up gaming and you want to do it on a budget, AMD is a great option. If you want, you know, the best ray tracing there is for single player games, then NVIDIA is going to be, you know, more ideal. And if you want a budget 1440p rig, then the Intel B580 is going to be a great card for you if you're going into a budget and you want a 1440p card. So AMD is also there at that same area. New stuff is always buggy. Yeah, Mike. Yeah, it always can be. It can be. Definitely. Loop over on the kick says he's AMD all day. What about you guys? What do you guys? Do you guys think AMD, Intel, NVIDIA? What do you guys prefer? Bazooka says, to be honest, I'm an AMD guy because they have better performance for the money. That used to be the case. Now, the 9800 X3Ds are probably more pricey just because of the demand that's there. AMD, baby! Nice. Tattoo Tuna over in Florida says they got 11 inches over there. Man, that is a crazy ton of snow for people that don't typically get snow. I think it's a Wednesday up here. Yeah, a typical Wednesday. Yeah, that's a typical Wednesday afternoon here. Yeah, we haven't had very much snow over here either. Down here, it's kind of a weird winter season for us in Michigan. The lower area, the lower side of Michigan has been weird. We finally got some snow, and there's snow on the ground, and it's I'd say it's probably like 4 or 5 inches maybe. I'm still sick with Intel, even though everyone is dick riding. You're still sticking with Intel, okay. Everybody's dick riding, okay, solid wing. It's a good way to put it. Good way to put it. It's the bandwagon, you know, everybody's on the bandwagon. But that's not why I like it. I like AMD because of the unfortunate issues Intel has provided. You know, it was nice when we were having this little competition, and now Intel kind of just basically said, I'm not going to compete. I don't know what happened with this last release. It's just not good. Not a good sign with Intel. They broke the world records for snow in Florida. Oh my gosh. I could believe that. There's not a lot of snow you get down there. You don't hear that very often. 11 inches of snow in Florida. You don't hear that very often. All right, guys, we've got our cables all plugged in here. If you couldn't tell, I was sitting here kind of just fiddling around with them, but everything's plugged in. Everything that we want plugged in before we try to cram an AIO in here, which starts, you know, utilizing some of the real estate inside the case. So we're gonna get the AIO installed now, which is the next wonderful journey of cables that we get to deal with. Join me on this cable journey. And our AIO selection is the Thermalright Frozen Note. The 360mm AIO. It's got an inline pump. It's got three 120mm addressable RGB fans. I think they're like 1500 RPM fans. And then it's got the infinity mirror on the block with some RGB. So it kind of looks pretty cool. And it does a really good job cooling. So I think Gamers Nexus did a review on this one, or one of the others by Thermalright. It comes highly recommended by Gamers Nexus now. I wouldn't say recommended, but they had a really good review on it. I think one of the main things that's missing on reviews with these things is longevity. But I've been using these for a long time now, well over a year, well over probably 2 years now, and they're still running out in the field perfectly. So, I've had a couple fail here and there, where there's issues with pumps and things, but that's typical with any AIO. But I mean, I've built with hundreds of them, so pretty good sample size. No inches of snow in Alaska, yet Florida has snow and on palm trees. I know, it's crazy. It blows my mind. I wonder what would happen if, I mean, NVIDIA would just steal the show if they started making CPUs. Technically, I think they have in the past. Didn't they? I think they made console CPUs at some point. I know they did console GPUs. Well, thanks for the follow on Sig. Liar. I can't read that whole name. I'll call you Consig. Thank you for that follow over there on Twitch. Price point per problem is way too high. Yeah, I know. With AMD right now, it's too high. So you can't really argue AMD's the cheaper option today, unless you're sticking with like AM4. All their AM5 stuff, that's super expensive right now. Super duper stupid expensive. Alright, so I'm going to push these cables through this little hole here, and then I got to get the radiator screws out of the hardware box here. We can mount this radiator real quick. Oh yeah, and then we want to put this CPU fan splitter in there as well. Don't have to deal with that. After the fact, of course. Don't want to deal with it after the fact. Get in there, you. Oh, damn it. One of these cables keep trying to pop back out. Okay. Gonna set this here for 1 second. And then we'll get the, I'm a budget guy. Well, this AIO is a budget guy. AIO. Thermalright is well known for their performance per dollar. No. I didn't eat that either. I made a plate, but I didn't eat. All right, we get our AIO screws, or radiator screws, ready to install. We've already fed the cables through the back, so it'll make it easier when we flip this around. But I'll get one screw in one corner, and then another here on this side. And then it'll be able to hold the radiator in place while I do the rest of the screws. Super simple. I love the Ryzen 5600, 3600 combo. Yeah, that's a great combo. It's a great budget combo. I mean, you got about a $100 CPU with a $220 graphics card, so your core and your build is going to be like $320 brand new. You can find it cheaper used. Great option for a budget PC. You could probably build the rest of the rig for like another $300. The total is $3K. I only have $700, Raz. 6 out of 10 because the CPU, LMO. Yeah, Raz, the 14900K, I would just, advise you, Raz, with the 14900K, make sure you do the BIOS updates if you haven't already. Definitely check to see if you have a BIOS update if you haven't looked at it within the last, I'd say, 3 to 6 months. Or if you built it new and you haven't done the BIOS update, definitely do the BIOS update. Rate this build. I'd say the build's pretty good. Let's see here. 14900K Kraken Elite. Again, I'm not a big fan of the NZXT stuff. Not because I hate NZXT, just some of their stuff is, excuse me, bless me, a little overpriced. Trident Z5 Royal. Got all that flashy memory. 32 gigs. ROG Strix Z790A Gaming. It's a good board. And then SK Hynix for the Platinum. For the got a lot of money in some high-end stuff there. It's a solid build. I think if you haven't done the BIOS update, without the BIOS update, your build's going to have trouble with the CPU eventually. Definitely check that out if you haven't. But it's pretty nice build. Solid build. You can pretty much play anything you throw at it there. I mean, you can definitely play pretty much anything you throw at it. And you got some 4K wiggle room with the 4080 Super being 16 gigs. So you can run some 4K. You're 14 years old? How'd you get that? You work? Yeah, I disagree with that as well. I mean, the 14900K is still a solid CPU. It's just the issues, with them burning up without the BIOS updates. Raz, definitely go check out your BIOS update for that motherboard. That'll save the life of your CPU if you haven't already. I can't stress that enough. If you have an Intel i9 14900K or 13900K or an i7 13th gen or 14th gen, I strongly advise check your BIOS updates, especially if you haven't done it in like the last 3 or 6 months. Get the BIOS updates completed. It will save the life of your CPU. Right now, it's probably running an older one, and it's not going to last very long. It'll eventually burn itself out, and then you'll have to deal with RMAs and stuff, and it's a pain in the ass. And I can tell you just based on experience, Intel RMAs take time right now because of how many they're dealing with. Okay. Other than that one cable I got hooked around that stick of RAM. There we go. We got our AIO mounted, at least the radiator. Next we got to get the block mounted here. Which is going to be super easy with an AMD install because it uses the brackets. This particular cooler uses the brackets that come with the motherboard, so there's no special brackets we have to install. So it makes installing this super, super simple. The only problem I've ever had with these is when you install, sometimes they like to twist. You just got to keep an eye out for that. They like to twist a little bit. I mean, it's okay if it twists a little bit, but if it's bad, then you have to undo it and redo it. I need some thermal paste, which this is the Thermalright TF7 paste that comes with the cooler. Which is very sticky stuff. Damn it. You know, sometimes this stuff doesn't want to work with it very well. Okay, so now that the paste is there, we can loosen these nuts. Let's judge him on his thermal paste application. It's terrible. This paste is not the greatest for application ratings. It's really sticky stuff. Like, it does not want to come out of the tube very well. And then it doesn't want to, like, stick to the CPU. Not a bad paste, like the thermal conductivity works very nicely. And the longevity of it so far has been pretty good. But usually I just do an X with a couple of dots, especially with AMD, because the hot spots are usually lower in the CPUs with these. Especially with AM5. AM5 hotspots way down there at the bottom of the CPU. So you definitely make sure there's paste at the bottom. I'm not a super picky guy when it overflows a little bit. But it'll be a nice spread once this mounts. We'll get these little clips over the lips of the brackets, and then we have 2 nuts to tighten. And I try to do it kind of a even distribution. 1/2 dry already. It kind of feels like that, but it's not. Like when you touch it, it's definitely wet. It just doesn't like to stay there. I don't know why. It's like stringy. It's kind of stringy. Solid 8, thanks. Appreciate that. Did you play the Friday song? I did not play the Friday song. I don't think I've ever played the Friday song on here. And if I did, it was by mistake. Hmm. I'll give him a 7, thanks. I'm a fan of the smear technique, yeah. If I was the Verge, I'd have the thermal applicator. Thermal paste applicator. But I'm not the Verge. Mike, 8.37 out of 8. Thank you for the more detailed rating. I appreciate that. I definitely know where I can improve. All right, there we go. CPU cooler's installed. Now, we can slap a GPU in here and then tackle the rest of the power supply stuff. We just gotta also plug in the fans for the AIO and the RGB for the AIO. As well as deal with the power supply. So we've got a 4060 Ti by MSI. So we're pairing the MSI graphics card with the MSI motherboard. I try to do that as much as I can in the builds. It's kind of like an aesthetics thing. But also a software thing, makes it easier. Used this AIO in my build, low-key, hard to set up. It's, Kanye West, it's not that bad. There's definitely worse ones out there. But, I mean, for the performance, I mean, you're paying for the performance, and you're saving a ton of money. Like half the price of other AIOs. Yeah, it's a tiny, cute GPU. Yeah. Surprised we found a GPU right now. Just kidding. Peel all the peels, they said. That just slots right in there. Simple. And then we're going to use 2 screws. We don't need a bracket for this size of a card, so there's no support bracket required for a 2-fan. Doesn't hang off the lip of the PCI slot very far. Bazooka builders. Don't be surprised, it's just YouTube for you. It's not about the likes for me anyway, it's about the relationships and the fun we have building and things we learn. It's always fun. And then I usually like to put these little plastic things into the motherboard to defer people from plugging in up here their monitors and to look down below. Like, oh, yeah, there's additional ports there. I'd say 9 times out of 10, that is a very common thing we run into. People call and say, hey, I have no display. First thing we ask them is, where did you plug in your monitor? And they'll say, up by the USB ports. And that is generally why it does not work. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and plug in our 24 pin and our 8 pin here for the GPU and the motherboard. Because then we could just tackle the rest of it on the other side. This is the pigtail that I was talking about. You do not want to use the pigtail. You just want to use the one end for the power supply to the graphics card. I know some builders will actually clip those. What case is that, Jaden? Hey, welcome to the build show, sir. Lose the glasses? Tat. Ah, you're terrible, man. I'm not gonna lose the glasses right now. Come on. Terrible game you're playing with me. Alright, Tat redeemed 1,500 points to lose the glasses, so we're losing the glasses right now. Everything's a little blurry. Don't know that I'll be able to read very well here. Why does it look so stumpy? Don't call it stumpy. Don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. How long am I supposed to lose the glasses for, does it say? It's kind of scary. I'm gonna be cutting some stuff here without glasses. Bet you Emily is very comfortable with me cutting without glasses. What case is that? I'm sorry. This is the... Find the manual. This is the 7 Hero H602B. B is for black, W is for white. It's available generally on Amazon. Is this machine for gaming? Yes. Yes, it is. It will be for gaming. It's a 4060 Ti 8GB card. It's about another $100 or so to try to get the 16 gig. And it's a 2-fan card, so it's a little smaller. But these cards are pretty efficient. It's not like you need anything super crazy to cool it. But yes, a 3-fan card would have looked ultimately better. I mean, I zip tied this and missed that. Crap. I wish I had my glasses right now, because I'm struggling. Gotta drag this out as long as we can. Figured I'd help. Thanks. LOL. Alright, I'm gonna put the glasses back on because holy crap. You don't realize how blind you are until you take them off. I can feel the sigh of relief from Emily from here. Oh, thank goodness, he's not going to break something. Okay, so now that we've got our 3 power cables here, we got our GPU installed, our AO installed, let's go ahead and flip it over, get the power supply installed, and deal with this rat's nest. How wonderful. I know you guys have been waiting for this. Right? This is what you've been waiting for? I know I was. I'm so excited to do this. So first thing I'm going to do before I start zip tying anything is tackle this here up at the top, which is our AIO. First thing that I want to tackle. I'm going to separate our fans from our RGB. There we are. And then we'll get it all plugged in. That's PWM. Addressable RGB, which is actually going to go back through here because it's got to get plugged in up here on the front side. The last connection we have, other than the power supply. I might have to get a zip tie in there. He's trying to slither its way down. I hate putting zip ties up here, but keeps trying to fall down. Gonna help keep everything up behind the AIO there. Okay, so now that that is plugged in, now we can deal with some of this cable management stuff and get our power supply installed. First thing I like to do is start making a channel down the middle. And I need my zip ties, dang it. Hey, thanks for the sub over there on YouTube. Oh. Nice channel, just liked and sub. Thank you. Thank you for the sub. Appreciate that. Hey, chat. Hey, what's up, Deether? Welcome to the build show, sir. Wow, missed a lot. Yeah, we're already here at this point. I decided to hang on to my 12900K future upgrades this year. GPU, RAM, power supply, that supported PCI 5.0, new AIO. Let's go. Yeah, we're making it. We're trying here. Almost there, guys. I promise. We just got to get through this rat's nest here, which is just a lot of time and zip ties. I like to start with a channel down the middle. Try to make it as clean as we can, right? Really, the primary goal is just not to let the cables drop down and pop out into the front side. I'm not going to do a million hours in cable management here. Make it look absolutely perfect or stunning. Unless it's required, but it's functional, it's clean. And I have a channel that I can work with if I ever need to get in here and undo something. I know what zip ties to undo. And yes, there are 5,000 cables in here for each fan. That's really all you got to do. You don't have to get too crazy with it. You're trying to make a work of art, of course. Spend more time on it. Hello, had my foot surgery yesterday. Oh, nice, Steve Anderson. That's good to hear. I'm glad you're, but you're okay? Yeah, I'm glad to hear you're okay. What'd you have foot surgery for? Specs? So this one is a Ryzen 7 5700X 3D, 32 gigs of DDR4, 3200 megahertz RAM, CL16, which is Team Group T-Force Vulcan Z. It's a 2 terabyte M.2 NVMe SSD. Hey, it's Irish Ninja. Welcome to the build show. I just bought all the parts for my first gaming PC. Nice, man. Nice. 2 terabytes M.2 NVMe Gen 4 SSD and RTX 4060 Ti 8 gigabyte card. And then we have a MSI B550M Pro VDH motherboard and a Thermalright Frozen Note 360mm AIO, built in a 7 Hero H602B case, and a 750 watt Cedrotap Gold 80 plus gold power supply. That is our specs that we're working with today. Now, what I am going to do, which is probably going to drive everybody nuts, if it's my own build, I will probably keep the power supply cables out. But because it is a customer's build, and cables go missing, and they come back and say, hey Ben, I want to do an upgrade, and oh, by the way, I don't have my power supply cables, I usually like to install all the cables on a modular power supply. As insane as that might be. Is this PSU reliable? Yes. Yep, I've used many of these power supplies, and I've honestly had issues with maybe a couple here and there, but I've never had, major problems with them. Or anything like that. These have been solid power supplies. Well, see how it goes. Oh, I'm worried about it since I haven't touched any PC in over 10 years. Well, it hasn't changed that much. I mean, there are some things that you want to pay attention to, but for the most part, I mean, it's not changed that much. If this is going like that, so we want GPU is down here. Oh, well, it actually labels it, so okay. Hey, thank you, Irish Ninja and Sincere. GBN over there on Twitch. Thank you for the follows. Appreciate you. Alright, so we're getting our power supply installed right now. Definitely want the fan facing up. I don't know why I tried to do that. Don't do that. That's one thing you don't want to do in this type of build, is you want the fan facing up, not down, because there's going to be ventilation on the panel here. But don't do what I just did. Okay. Oh yeah, one more cable. And then we'll get to power this thing on and see what it looks like fired up. I haven't seen Emily in the chat yet, so somebody else will have to tell us to power this thing on. Why not just put the extra cables in the PSU box when you send them the system? It's because they'll actually misplace the PSU box. So by doing this, the cables will never leave the system, and I'll always have them if they ever bring it back for upgrades, etc. Hello, how did surgery go, Bazooka? Pretty good. Just a little pain, but nothing I can't handle. Nice. Well, not nice, but good to hear that you're out of surgery and it went well. And that you don't have any major pain. I'm going to have knee surgery. I'm actually going to have a lot of surgeries here in the future. One, I have a lower groin hernia. Still not resolved yet. Still hurts. Two, I have some old football injuries in my knees. and my knees are starting to act up. And then 3, I have a tooth that I need to get removed, which is actually my wisdom tooth that I never got removed. Not really a surgery, just some dental work. But all opportunities for some laughing gas, right? Okay. So I'm going to put the 3 primary here that we're going to be using on one zip tie. Or at least try to put it on one zip tie here. Might have to do 2. And that one just broke. How special. And the rest of these cables will tidy up, bundle up. We need one of the big zip ties here. Did some BIOS updates today? Everything's happening on my 1290 RKS. Thinking maybe a power delivery problem so far. No problems. Be setting. Oh, you did a BIOS update. Gotcha. Cool. It's always good to try to keep that BIOS up to date, you know? Especially if there's power delivery fixes. Especially if it's a power delivery issue with a Intel issue, or Intel CPU right now. There we go. That was the last bundle of joy that we had to bundle up here. We're just gonna pile it in right here. Not much more to it there. You know? Let's get some of this cleaned up. And then we'll fire this thing up and see what it looks like. Yeah. Nice and clean. The cable management looks really nice. I think the only thing I could do is maybe get this tight up a little bit, because I don't want it dropping down too close to that fan. But you know, it's what it is. For now, I'll probably take care of that later. Dust filters back on. All right, let's plug it in and fire her up. Finally. Time to meet the world. Fire in the hole! Yeah, pretty much. Everybody wants to step back here for a moment, you know? All right, who wants to do the honors? Her, yeah, no, I don't think that's what she does. This case layout looks like the King 95 Pro ripoff. It's actually the King 95 Pro that ripped off Lian Li, which they ripped off the, yeah, it's a long, you know, history of manufacturers ripping each other off. It's called the trend. That's good. How often should I update my BIOS? I'd say every, you know, few months you should take a look at it. Especially with Intel, you should definitely look at it almost monthly right now. Fire the hole, send it. Everybody says send it. Did I push the button on the back? Yeah. So a really cool feature is the power button is down here. Uh-oh. We got one fan that's not on. Cool. Can't wait to go find that one. Yeah, that's gonna be a pain in the ass. I zip tied them. And it's at the end of the daisy chain, so we know it's down there somewhere. There it is. We found it. That's what happens when you cable manage daisy chains. They get unplugged. Specs. I think we covered the specs already. It's a 5700X3D with 32 gigs of DDR4, 3200 CL16. It's got a 2 terabyte M.2 NVMe Gen 4 SSD in there by Silicon Power. It's a RTX 4060 Ti by MSI, the Ventus X2, and MSI B550M Pro VDH Pro Wi-Fi with a 360mm AIO by Thermalright, which surprisingly we haven't got it in post yet. We're sitting on CPU here, which is interesting. So either we're having CPU power problems or CPU socket problems. Just what you want to deal with. This is a 7 Hero case with a 750 watt 80 plus gold power supply. Tell me something about the RAM in AM5 platform, and especially the 7000 series, and welcome back to the Bell Show. Is it good RAM frequency 6400 megahertz or 6000 CL30? So preferably for AMD, anywhere between 6000 and 6400 is preferred. Either one, the 7700X or the 9700X, so it's both the same. Kick not showing a sub gift tab. I wanted to gift a sub. Oh, I don't have that feature unlocked on Kick because I don't have 70, I think it's 70 or 80 that I need followers. So over on Kick, I don't have that unlocked. But you can come over to Twitch or YouTube and sub over there, or gift subs over there if you'd like. Love the music, by the way. Oh, thanks. I haven't checked my Gigabyte BIOS in like a year. Yeah, typically you don't have to, but 13th and 14th gen Intels, you definitely want to keep an eye on it. Excuse me. We are having some CPU issues. This is the first time in a while that I've had a post issue on the stream. So we'll have to troubleshoot that, but I'm not going to troubleshoot it here on the stream. The goal was to build it and see what it looks like. Generally, we like to see a post, but I do have another 5700X 3D here, and I have another B550 Pro if we need it. So, congratulations, Emily. We have the build done. Ben's just going to have to do some further troubleshooting to figure out why we're not posting here. It's stuck on CPU light for the debugger on the motherboard, so it's either power to the CPU or it's... I mean, I could take a look at that, but... One second. I mean, that's plugged in all the way. Definitely not power. Unless there's something wrong with the power supply, but 9 times out of 10 when you have this type of issue, it's the motherboard. Very rare that it's a CPU. Third, if I want to install on my new PC, a Ryzen 7 7700X, a GPU Sapphire R9 Fury X 4GB for 1 year, do you think I have a problem and bottleneck with new stuff? No, you'll be fine. I mean, it's a bottleneck for the graphics card. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have a bottleneck. There's nothing you could do about that if you're gonna run the R9 Fury X 4GB. The graphics card's gonna be a bottleneck there. But I mean, it'll be fine. You'll be able to run it. That's a classic. Yeah, it's a retro PC. Yeah, I remember when those came out. Those were some badass cards by AMD. It's the power to the CPU. It's not, unfortunately. We still don't have a post. I just checked the cable. Everything's plugged in all the way, so. Ran an RX 588 gig for many years. Yeah, it's still, RX 580 is still a great card today. Dang, I want to troubleshoot. Well, I think it's going to be a matter of me pulling the CPU, putting the new CPU in, taking the RAM out, putting new RAM in, and worst case scenario, pulling the motherboard and putting a new motherboard in to figure out which one it is. So a lot of swapping of parts to figure it out, and I just don't feel like doing that. It's 11:30 already for me over here Eastern time, so it's already late. I still haven't eaten dinner yet, and I'm starving. That's truly why I want to get off the stream. I don't even have a slot with my King 95 Pro RGB hub to put an AIO in. Sucks. 9 fans and the RGB strip. Well, you don't want to put Kanye West. You don't want to put the fans from your, maybe the RGB. Yes, you could do that, but you don't want to put the fans on that hub. You want those plugged into the CPU header. So you want those separated. AMD has made some great graphics cards over the years. Definitely. Yeah, they have. The RX 580 was a solid card. You could play for pretty much... You could still play pretty much anything with that card. Good work, bro. See you next time. Well, yeah, we'll see you next time, man. Yeah, come around. We'll be streaming probably tomorrow as well. And I'll give you guys an update on this one, because I'll probably have this wrapped up tomorrow. Thought on the MSI Ventus cards. I've been reading the quality is not the best. TED Talk, welcome to the build show, and I've never had issues with them, so I guess maybe the quality they're calling out is that there's a lot more plastic on the card, but I mean, they are cheaper cards, so you kind of get what you pay for when you go with the cheaper cards. But overall, I've never had problems with them. I'm a poor guy, and I want to sell the old PC parts to find money to buy a new model, but my friend gives me this GPU, so it's a great GPU you can start out with. Yeah. I want to play old games and something, some simulator games. It'll get you started. It'll definitely get you started. It'll still be an enjoyable experience on there. It's a nice graphics card. Dang, I want to troubleshoot. So should I put all 3 of the RGB connectors into the motherboard? No, no, no. RGB, you could go to the hub. If it's the fan, PWM, 4-pin connection, that should go to the CPU header. The 3-pin RGB connectors, the 5-volt 3-pin RGB, those can go to the hub, yes. So that's fine. But alright guys, I'm gonna jump for the night. We're gonna be live again tomorrow. Depending on if parts show up, will determine what build we're doing, so I'm not gonna say anything about the build until we know all the parts are here. Because they're still supposed to show up tomorrow. We're waiting on a case and I think a power supply. Nope, we have the power supply. We're waiting on a case and something else. I think it's a motherboard. Yeah, it's the motherboard. The case and the motherboard. So both of those are supposed to show up tomorrow. Alright guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Feel free to jump into the stream tomorrow and we'll build another one. Blaze one. Well, yeah, we'll see you later, man. Catch you on the next one. Later, Ben. Have a good night, Mike. Have a good night, Steve. Tat, we'll see you on the next one. Some giant idiot, thanks for joining. Panda, we'll see you on the next one, sir. Gagne, all you guys. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We'll see you on the next one. Have a good night. Bye-bye.